The Book of Mormon narrative follows a Jewish family, led by their patriarch, Lehi, who flees Jerusalem for the New World, in 600 BC. Their journey takes them south, down the Arabian peninsula, following the coast of the Red Sea. 3 days from Jerusalem, they set up their first camp, in a valley, along a continuous flowing river. At this camp, they are joined by Ishmael and his family. Lehi's sons marry Ishmael's daughters, and both families resume the journey together. They continue south, until they reach a place called Nahom. From there, they turn east. The landscape requires them to climb over the Hejaz mountains before cutting across the Arabian desert. Around this time, the first children are born to the newlyweds. 8 years after leaving Jerusalem, they arrive at a lush paradise, somewhere along the Arabian coast. They called it Bountiful, named for its abundant fruit and wild honey. They found ore to craft tools, wild game used for their meat and skins, and timber to construct a transoceanic vessel to carry their men, women, and children, perhaps a couple dozen or more, across the Indian Ocean, which they called Orientum, meaning many waters, on their way to the New World. According to the Book of Mormon, the location of Bountiful is directionally linked to Nahom. It says that from Nahom, Lehi traveled nearly eastward, until they reached Bountiful. Some LDS apologists have proposed a location for Nahom, but on the east side of the Hejaz Mountains, in an area that generally corresponds to the modern Nim district. Located over 100 miles inland from the Red Sea, and about 45 miles northeast of Sana'a, Yemen's capital. For the story to be true, Bountiful has to exist somewhere along the coast, in a nearly eastward direction from Nahom. Apologists conclude that the southern coast of Oman is the only location that could plausibly work. With the families intermarrying 3 days from Jerusalem, and then giving birth around the time they reach Nahom, we can place them approximately 1 year into their 8-year trek to Bountiful. A conclusion supported by an LDS apologist. I believe that it took them about a year to go from their first base camp down to Nahom. The reason is because that's when Nephi mentions the birth of the first children. 1 year to Nahom means it took them 7 years to get to Bountiful. They would spend those 7 years crossing the Arabian desert. The Arabs call it the Rubul Khali, meaning the empty quarter. It is the largest and driest sand sea in the world. A BYU professor admits how deadly this desert is. They're going in an area that no one in his right mind would have gone. This space in the Arabian desert, out in a wilderness, where you can barely survive 4 or 5 hours without water. The distance they would trek across this desert would be roughly the same as walking from Los Angeles to Salt Lake City. Mormon apologists claim that Bountiful must be somewhere along the southern coast of Oman, in its Dhofar region. Proposed candidates are Khor Kafot, Salala, and Khor Rory. But there is no consensus. Khor Rory is home to the ruins of Sumharam. Established in the 3rd century BC, it served as a trading hub along the incense route. It is also home to the Wadi Dobat. During the monsoon season, the area teems with pools and waterfalls. Salalah sits on a coastal plain, between the Indian Ocean to its south, and the Kara Mountains to the north. It is the largest city in Oman's Dhofar region, and Dhofar's capital. Khor Kafot is the most western proposed location for Bountiful. Rain during the monsoon season will form pools, and its mountain runoff will flow down the Wadi Saik into the Indian Ocean. Proponents for a southern Oman location may often depict a more vibrant landscape by documenting the desert after its transformation from brown and arid to lush green during the few months of its monsoon season. There are in fact no suitable trees to construct a transoceanic vessel. A crippling refutation for any southern Oman link to substantiate the Book of Mormon story. A fact conceded by a BYU archaeobotanist. The largest tree of Dhofar, along with the other large indigenous fig taxa, all produce wood that is too soft, heavy, and porous to withstand the rigors of a transoceanic crossing. In the words of maritime historian Dionysius Agius, timber for shipbuilding was always lacking in the Arabian-Persian Gulf. Another maritime historian, George Aurani, echoes Agius's opinions. Arabia does not, and never did, produce wood suitable for building strong seagoing ships. According to the Book of Mormon, the location of the ancient Nahom does not match the location of the modern Nim district. That there ever was a place called Nahom in 600 BC remains conjecture. Current theories about Nahom lack any corroboration outside LDS circles. Consequently, without any certainty of Nahom's location, any link to Bountiful would be presumptive. For many reasons, it is obvious that the Book of Mormon's author was ignorant of the Arabian terrain. For instance, having its characters, either pregnant or with newborns, traverse the Hejaz Mountains, and then spend 7 years crossing the Arabian desert. This would be a certain death sentence. The southern coast of Oman would undoubtedly offer a reprieve for desert survivors, especially during the monsoon season. Yet apologists may misconstrue that the area is always a year-round coastal paradise. To be fair, Oman's southern coast has native fruit, honey, mineral deposits, and wild game. Yet, the fact that they named the ocean Iriantum, or many waters, raises the question of whether that particular coast is a match. But, that there are no suitable trees in Arabia to construct a transoceanic vessel is a fatal blow for a southern Oman link. Or for that matter, anywhere on the peninsula. That the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints will not endorse any Bountiful location speaks volumes. Get your copy at mormonhandbook.com.